So which booster boxes have increased the most in price, and with the recent slight downturn in price, is it even a good idea to buy any of these boxes? The winner at the moment is OP1, and it's peaked at around over $1,000 or so dollars, with the highest sale being $1,250. From the madness in early November all the way up to December, and most recently the pump in February, it's moved up a lot in price. People are chasing the Oda signature and the Gear 5 Luffy. We can draw some charts and see that $750, if it decides to dip pretty heavily in price, would be the price floor. And I think psychologically speaking, $1,000 a box is kind of where people would want to be at. It's a nice clean number. I was able to sell OP1 for $1,000, and personally, I just like hitting that four-figure mark. You could probably see this box dip at around $900 or so dollars, but it's going to be eaten up. If we were to be really insanely bullish, it could go up to $1,600. If for some reason that the player base of One Piece had fallen, people lose interest in it, maybe the new meta sucks, you could see this box dip down to about $880. And if it goes all the way down to $750 or even $650, maybe that's kind of a dip. We'll have to know the conditions of the market when we get there. But when you kind of estimate how long that might take, you are kind of going to have to be sitting on this for about the next 2 years or so. You're not going to see a lot of sexy price movement. If next year is even more bullish for One Piece, $1,600 would be the next target for this box. The next box that has had the biggest price increase is the white bottom OP1 booster box. This is kind of an interesting set. You'll see more of these sales on eBay, but at least on TCG Player, it's got kind of a floor here at $1,800. If we draw this out, the next movement for this box could be around $2,500, depending on how bullish the set is. Personally speaking, I'm not the biggest fan of OP1. There is the manga shanks. There are a couple of alternate arts that are desirable, but as it stands, I just don't think it's worth even ripping the box. If you ripped open OP1 today, I'm not even sure how much you could possibly get. Imagine spending $2,000 to get maybe, let's say, $400 of hits, and even if you do pull the manga shanks and you decide to go grade that $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000, sure, you could be making your money back, but what are even the chances of that? The way I kind of see booster boxes is if you're buying these to invest, you're essentially selling the shovels during the gold rush. Then there is the wave 1 blue bottoms. Is it even worth buying blue bottom for over $5,000? Are you going to be ripping open this box, or are you holding on to it to potentially sell to another person in the future just because they like the aesthetics, or they just want the very first booster box of the One Piece trading card game? Keep in mind, liquidity is also another factor you have to keep in mind. Are people even willing to buy this box off of you? Pillars of Strength is a very interesting purchase. Didn't really get a lot of attention, but during that whole ramp up, it went from $250 to now sitting at almost $800. Why are people buying this set? I mean, it's the first set that has had these wanted posters for SPs, Anderson art collectibles, Soga King manga. I'm not sure if it makes sense to drop $700 on Pillars of Strength, but from what I've heard, it was already very difficult to purchase Pillars of Strength when it came out a long time ago. So this could be kind of a supply shock play, but it might have already been priced in. I'm not sure how somebody would be able to collect data to get this total circulating supply on OP03. There's some YouTube channels out there like Straw Hat Speculator that go off of the current listings and how many days it takes before the supply of the market dries out. But I would be a little bit wary of that, because even then it's not 100% accurate. And when people see that meteoric rise, people would just dump their supply back onto the market, and that data could fluctuate. But it's interesting to see that 3 has been one of the best performers of this whole booster box movement. One of my favorite sets, which is 9, Emperors in the New World. I've got it a little charted out here. It's very interesting, though this is the second anniversary set and it did have one of the reprints. It's got these very obvious legs. And if we chart this out, it's in the green zone at around 400. It looks like the next move up could possibly be $1,000 a box, and maybe it'll drop back down to $800 after it does another leg. Yeah, so here it's in very bullish territory at around 650, but if we were to be less conservative and move the marker, let's say up here, $850 I'd say would be more of a realistic target. But I would also be cautious. 09 could drop down in price, and if it falls down to about 477 or even back down to 420, it'd be a great buy there. But again, booster boxes are deflationary. You're not going to see a lot of 9 around anymore, even though the circulating supply is higher than a lot of the previously older sets. I still think 9 is a great set. I mean, you're talking about the Gold Roger manga, another Luffy manga, Shanks, Blackbeard, Buggy, Nami SP, which is a lot of people's chase cards, Gear 5 Luffy, that's personally one of my chase cards, the Boa, but that might be possibly why it's so hard to get the specific SP that you want, but lots of depth here. I mean, OP11 makes the most sense. There's the gold and silver Luffy SP. Those are some of the top chases at around $400. Is it undervalued? I'm not sure. If people suddenly decide they love this box, I could see it going up to $750. I would be a little bit careful because just until last year, you could walk into a Bandai store and purchase 11. It just wasn't too hard to get your hands on this box. Man, you could be holding on to this for a couple of years. If you love to rip it, $400 for an older set, not terrible. I could see this box dropping back down to around $300. 30th anniversary for Pokemon is here. A lot of others are rotating back into it. Wouldn't be surprised if people started selling more undesirable booster boxes. One of the more interesting sets for sure. OP13 didn't have too much price movement. It was at $180, and I think that's what really sparked this whole boom. If you map it out, technically it's not at a bad level. I could see it crack back down to $450 when the blister reprints come back out. If we were to, I guess, speculate where this could have gone, if people were so enormously crazy for it, it would have slowly legged its way up to $1,000. But I could see this hovering at around 530, maybe touching 600, could touch back up to 700. But I think with OP17 being the 4th anniversary set coming out this year, I'm not sure how much people would want to keep 13 unless you have a multi-year investment thesis. But this is just some of the data that's been collected for booster boxes. A lot of these have moved up significantly in price, which makes sense. OP05 first anniversary, Romance Dawn Wave 1 and 2, very first boxes. Pillars of Strength is, I would say, one of the odd ones out, with it being 750, but if the story checks out that even back then it was so difficult to get Pillars of Strength, this could be a supply crunch. I would not spend $750 potentially getting Sogeking manga, but that's just because I like to rip my boxes, except for these. I like these guys. But if you enjoyed the video, like, comment some of your thoughts. If you're interested in using this tool, we do have a waitlist open in the description down below. And until then, I'll see you guys next time.